Hello, I'm Jake, and this is my organisation's Assessment 1 using paradigms for evidence-based judgments. So, from the statements provided, I believe that Iraq has a 65% chance of possessing weapons of mass destruction. I came to this conclusion as a result of weighing statements 1 to 4 at a greater weight than statements 5 to 9. The reason for this is that I found the wording more stern, and these statements read as if the possession of these weapons is a guarantee compared to the later statements, which seem circumstantial. Statement 4 is one that really convinced me, as the specific mention of Iraq trying to obtain parts is suspicious, whilst Statement 9, which mentions how Iraq could use UAVs, didn't convince me in the slightest, as from what I know, UAVs could be used for really anything. Overall, the group thought Iraq had a 67.5% chance of possessing weapons of mass destruction, with most scores looking similar apart from statements 7 through to 9, where my score was 40%, 20% and 0% compared to the group score of 70%, 57.5% and 43 and 3/4%. Where, as a group, the consensus was that these statements were a lot more convincing than compared to what I thought myself. According to Burrell and Morgan, there are 4 social paradigms. Demonstrated here using the vertical axis, we have the people's preferences for how society functions, with a view that society should be orderly and regulated, represented at the bottom, and the view that society is unjust and needs change on the top. On the horizontal axis, we have people's perception of knowledge and what knowledge matters. On the right of the axis, we have the objective end, which sees the universe exists separately from our consciousness, and that facts can be verifiable with one singular truth. Opposite to this, we have the subjective view, which values people's unique lived experiences and understands that everyone has a different view and opinions, meaning that there is no singular truth or reality, as each of our perceptions is our own truth. Related to our tool, which we used the raw intelligence worksheet, this tool would be considered very functional. Building on what we learnt in week 2, the worksheet fits into the objective end of the axis, as our assumption would be that we can determine if Iraq has weapons of mass destruction by analysing these statements, applying a probability to them. Applying a probability to them would indicate that there is a verifiable reality. This also fits with the regulation end on the axis, as we accept the worksheet for what it is and work within the rules it lays out. Building on the research of Hirschman and Klein, we can understand that there is no one-size-fits-all paradigm, as each offers us different insights into how the world works, but also each has its own faults and blind spots. For our functionalist approach, many of the oversights that arise are a fault of functionalism, seeing the world as data with numerical values and ignoring the important reality of the lived human experience. And drawing back to our exercise with Iraq and the weapons of mass destructions, all of the statements looked at probabilities, yet none looked at the broader geopolitical situation that would lead a country to obtain weapons of mass destruction. This is where functionalism fails, as human factors like jealousy, interpersonal conflict, power dynamics, and emotion can distort what might be logical. Interpretivism covers these shortcomings as it takes a subjectivist view of the reality of many truths to many people. Interpretivists' foundation is the view that we can all contribute through our own individual actions to the reality that we co-inhabit. And thus, to achieve order and harmony, we must all have an understanding of our role and others' roles. This is where interpretivism covers what functionalism ignores, as people shape reality instead of reality shaping people. And from analysing both the paradigms of functionalism and interpretivism, I can conclude that neither is fully conclusive, as each of them looks at reality from 2 different angles. 2 different answers would be provided. Both still have their uses, as functionalism's data-driven approach definitely has its applications in non-human related matters, whilst interpretivism excels in situations where human actions and thoughts are central to a situation. And as Bartley points to in his research, organisations in particular should lean towards interpretivism, as organisations are made of people and people aren't numbers. Personally, after my studies of paradigms, I'm now aware of which paradigm I'm using when thinking or making a decision, and I'm conscious of whether it might be the ideal paradigm for the situation. I can also apply this to others' understanding of which paradigm they might have used when making a decision. I reflect back to an in-class activity when a classmate changed his answer on a statement after asking me what one of the words meant, as I reckon this would be a functionalist decision, as the statement changed when he knew what the word meant. As that word had value, and the value changed when that word suddenly had meaning. Thanks all. References.